empty-handed. Okay. So I have a few pieces. I have some pieces that are original, and then I have a couple of pieces near the end that I like to do covers of poets doing things today, because I feel like this is a crowd that needs to go look up some people. And a lot of these guys are working really hard, and they're trying to put out books, and they're trying to put out CDs, and there's some awesome stuff out there. But this one is mine. Okay, so for an introduction, I used to live in this really awesome courtyard with that chick, and it was not in the best part of town. And
you mean my neighborhood?
after a while, I moved out to the suburbs, and I've since moved back to Midtown because that's where you need to be, in the box. But so this is kind of about that transition. It's called In Fear for My Life. I used to live in a thick brick apartment right next door to a halfway house halfway down the block. The broken pavement, leaking pipes, and cracking walls fell down into our hair, our showers, our beds. Cockroaches ruled the kitchens, and feral cats stalked back alleys with the ferocity of cruel children. Alcoholics paced the street, drinking from paper bags, and neighbors sat on stoops, waiting to be institutionalized. Early one morning, the police showed up and put clear plastic cups over the bit of shot-out human lung lying bloody on the front steps. I lived there through 4 years of rent hikes, rats, and roaches, 2 drive-by shootings, and 3 break-ins. Now I live in a beige-sided neighborhood, in a beige-sided house. Everyone smiles and waves from their minivans and trucks. Roses and peonies litter the sidewalk, and perfectly trimmed lawns obey every rule. No one is shot dead in the street. I've never washed the face of a lost child. No one knocks on my door trying to sell me magazines or Jesus. No one threatens their wives in the front yard, even though the weather is warm. No one's selling drugs from the back seat of the rusted-out Pontiac Sunbird. And if I leave out bags of empty soda cans for the homeless, no one picks them up before garbage day. Children laugh in the park, there are no fights to break up, and families garden together on the public grass along the boulevard. I stand in the center of the traffic-free street, staring at all of this, too terrified to move. Melrose was a really good place to live. Okay, this one is also an original. It's about me. And the only way I can think to introduce it is just that this kind of tells you who I am. It's called Self-Possessed. Crocuta crocuta. It's her Latin name. She comes in striped and spotted varieties. The female has more testosterone, causing her to be larger, stronger, and more aggressive, aggressive, aggressive than her male counterpart. See, in order to mate, the male must first overcome his fear of her. Mine is extinct. Did I mention? I have a long-dead hyena stuck inside me. It's a little like having a bluebird in your heart, but not. It's not that unusual. Jim Morrison was possessed by the ghost of a dead Indian chief. Bill Hicks is regularly inhabited by the spirit of a goat god, and I have a European cave hyena lodged behind my left eye. I visit the doctor to get her out. I sit on his table while he peers into my eyes, ears, mouth. I ask him if he can see the Paleolithic cave paintings splashed across the back of my retinas. They exist there. The first human community, cuddled for warmth, doubled for strength, huddled in the rubble for connection. Can you see it? He looks at me with a blank stare. I ask to look in his eyes, ears, and mouth. He hesitates and sticks out his tongue. I can smell a man immobilized by fear of his own failure and emotionally cut off from love. I see a psychiatrist to talk my hyena out. She asks me if I'm having difficulty accepting authority and how I'm feeling today. I just can't stop laughing. She glares at me with pursed lips over a black leather notebook, and I can taste on the air that she hasn't laughed in a long, long time. Does she still remember the scent as it bubbles up? Ripening fruit on a summer breeze. Hyena rants with a coworker over the newspaper and too much coffee. The young nurse's eyes glaze as the historical origins of American involvement in the Middle East are explained. There's a pause, and she asks, why can't you be normal? My left eye gleams under the fluorescent hospital lighting, and I reply, I am normal, not average. There's a difference. Hyena says what she probably meant to say was, why are you fundamentally separated from the dominant paradigm of our society? But she didn't have the words. Hyena isn't allowed coffee anymore. I meet with a shaman in a last-ditch effort to exorcise her. He makes me sit in a musky sweat lodge 4 hours later, and I've removed all my clothes, and I can't stop panting. Strengthened by the oppressive heat, Hyena has questions. Hyena has things she doesn't understand. Hyena demands answers, and the shaman listens. Why do you constrain what's meant to be free? Why do you wince when rules are broken like bones of carrion beneath my jaws? Why do you think civilization is better than a free life in the wild places? You're like 200 chickens in too small a cage and one bad scare from pecking each other's eyes out. You are so separate from the earth from which you evolved. Even the grassland behind your home must conform to the rigid lines of order and fences. Fences which pen you in, fences which pen you out, fences which constrain, restrain, retrain your soul to the mundane. It isn't me and my hyena, but the world that is flawed. That's why mental illness is rampant. That's why corruption's rotting away at our ideals. And that's why my infant boy screamed for the first 6 weeks of his life. He knew what he'd been born into, and he simply could not cope. The things that give your life meaning are the things you've had since the beginning of life. We need to get outdoors. Feel our feet on uneven ground. Press our fingers into soft, cool mud and paint our lover's face, neck, back. Just you and me in the solitude and comfort of the cave. We bring only our stories and our bodies and our art, and that is everything. I stop to catch my breath, and the shaman catches our eyes. He pours his lips upon mine, paints my hyena tongue with his. His bravery will be rewarded by sunrise. Thank you. All right. So this one I actually did last month, but I don't care because I love it. We were asked to put together a theme about love. And love is always kind of a hard one for me because I feel like I get a little sappy and a little weird, and this one just like fun. Whoa. Mikey got naked. Okay. Be patient because I love you a lot. But I want to love you like the weight of a freight train crashing into your chest, like a slow motion sunrise on rewind, like the Valentine's Day time bomb that I mailed to your address. I want to love you like spam, so mushy that it's gross. Yeah, I want to love you like that. I want to love you like Spider-Man, all sticky and clingy and shit, and like Batman, all hardcore and repressed, and like Wolverine, which I should not have to spell out to you people. I want to love you gently, like ducks. I want to love you like when water's wet, when martinis are dry, when limbo gets low, and when hippies get high. Yeah! I want to love you like that. I want to love you like anything in Old English, amazing but impossible to understand. I want to love you till it freaks you out, like the Church of Scientology or Michael Jackson's face. I want to love you hard like calculus, easy like cheerleaders, soft like chinchillas, and sensitive like hair triggers. I want to love you like when the heavens open up and the stars start to dance on a pitch black tapestry and the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie. I want to love you like the abominable snowman loves his little buddy rabbit. Like Mr. T loves gold chains and pitying fools. I want to love you like dogs love frisbees, like pyramids love Thisbe, like Santa Claus does chimneys, and like Grandpa loved whiskey. I want to love you like that. I want to love you gorgeous like a beauty queen, psycho like a drama queen, and fabulous like a drag queen. I want to love you like the one couple in this room who had really great sex last night, mixed with the one couple in this room who fell asleep in front of the TV last night. so that for the rest of our lives, during every commercial break, we go at it like animals. Yeah! I want to love you like that. I want to love you like Tom Cruise, baby. All types of crazy. I want to love you like bears give hugs, like wind chimes slow dance, like raindrops kiss foreheads, and like fingers read Braille. I want to love you broken, like Morse code, humble like pie, always like taxes, and perfect like the distance from your eyelashes to my glasses. I want to love you like driving in an ice storm, fucking scary because it's impossible to stop. So be patient, because I love you a lot, but eventually I'm going to love you like that. You guys, this is way too much fun. You give me way too much energy. Okay, so this, I really think I've been waiting to read this to this group since I was born. Okay. It will work this time. It has to. I spent the better part of 19 hours crafting this mural on bedrock, and 3 full days before that laying pavement, redirecting the winding desert road so that it would end abruptly at the foot of my masterpiece. A rock wall painted to look like a tunnel. An optical illusion. A way out. But there is no way out of here. My name is Wile E. Coyote. And I am so fucking hungry. Inexplicably stuck in this lifeless desert, my only companion, a mindless blue bird who I am forever doomed to chase, to whom all laws of existence bend, then break. This is my universe, compulsively ordering one ridiculous contraption after another, even though I am on to the people at Acme. I know they are fucking with me. I am hours of flight suits, or a working magnet, or a lit wick short of supper, and I deserve it. I left my imprint all over this desert. I've been pancaked, incinerated, run over, diced, and buried. I have accepted my failure with only simple signs pulled from invisible back pockets, begging for your empathy, as if it will cushion what comes next. And whoever fancies himself my maker was cruel enough to imbue upon me the knowledge of how things are supposed to be. Rockets fire upon ignition. Rocks roll when the pull is great enough against them. The trajectory of catapults is not arbitrary. Predators catch prey. Can you imagine how it feels? Your best laid plans crumbling around you, peering into the mouth of fate, only to have it blow up in your face. It's enough to make you wonder if it's better to be a perfect physical specimen than it is to be bright. If all the time you spent lost in thought has been a waste, when all along it's been easier to just run. I am a super genius, and I can't capture a flightless bird who grins as I drool for his flesh. I keep at it, as if the next bow will fire the arrow instead of me, as if the poison birdseed will somehow end up in his mouth instead of mine. It is the curse of an addict to chase the thing that destroys you. But until you've done it, until you've launched yourself off a 1,000-foot cliff for the thing that you love, you will never understand the gravity of my plight. This is it! The culmination of my mania. This fake fucking tunnel is the best I can do. And when the dust settles, I will stand firmly on red sand, his broken blue neck clenched between my teeth. This time, it will work. It has to. That's all I got.
You all see what I mean? She fucking killed it. You mentioned one of my heroes in that, Jim Morrison. I got a little story to tell about Jim Morrison. But however, has anyone here ever done the drug mescaline? So 2 of you are going to understand what the fuck I'm talking about. I was dating a young lady who is dead now. I had nothing to do with that. And that's a great way to start a story. But she gave me this new drug that I've never done before called mescaline. And she lived right next door to the Scores Bowling Alley in Ralston. So we did this, and I went through all kinds of great things for the first 5 hours that I did it, and then I realized it was only 10 minutes. So this was going to be a fucking trip. I guess that's why they call it that. I walked into the bathroom, which had tile floor, and the other room had wood floor. I had difficulty stepping back onto the wood. So I was stuck in the bathroom. I could see her on the couch through the curtain because she didn't believe in doors. So there was a curtain and I could see her. So I had to get my phone out and call her and tell her to come get me. She said, "Where the fuck are you?" I said, "In the bathroom." She said, "Where?" Because she was on it too. So she came, got me, led me back over, and she said, "You're freaking out, man." And she jumped on top of me, which is exactly what you need when you're freaking out. All of a sudden, light music started playing, the lights turned to pink, and we were having a moment for about 4 hours. And then 5 minutes later, we were done. Then I decided that I wanted to watch The Doors on VHS. I watched the entire movie in about 10 minutes. And it really was 10 minutes. I think I had it on fast forward or something. I have no fucking clue. I remember watching the entire movie. And then looking at her and saying, "I want to go do karaoke next door." We went to the karaoke bar. I walked in, and it was one of those times in the movie where the camera pans clear to the back of the room and then slowly comes back. That's exactly what I did once the door was like, whoa, shit. And she hands me a 20 and says, "I would like a gin and tonic. I like Tanqueray. Get whatever you want, and I'll be right back when I wash my hands." I ordered the drinks exactly as she told me to, and waited, and waited, and waited. Fuck! And I scream, "How fucking long does it take to get a drink in here?" And she says, "What's wrong?" I says, "Where the fuck have you been?" She says, "How long do you think it's been?" I said, "At least a fucking hour." She says, "I just washed my hands." And the waitress brings the drinks over, and she goes, "That'll be whatever." I'm like, "Oh shit, I'm really fucked up." The DJ knew me, and I walked up. He had a Door CD that wasn't in the book. And I said, "Man, you got your Door CD?" And he goes, "What the fuck are you on?" I said, "Don't worry about it. Do you have your Door CD? Do you have it? 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 Really? Do you have it? Do you have it? Pick a song for me." And he goes, "You're in a Riders in the Storm kind of mood right now. What the fuck do you have? Do you have any more of it?" He calls me up. I go up to sing. I take the microphone. I look at the crowd, which is sitting much like this. The music started. I started getting into it. The smoke machine went off. Fog rolls in. Brightly colored light shining upon me. I was really getting into it. And I was getting down these really cool, I thought, Jim Morrison poses, And I even did like this free-form poetry thing during an instrumental break. And when the music was over, the fog cleared, the lights dimmed, and everybody just looked at me like this. And then they started clapping. And pretty soon they're like, "Yeah!" He says, "Dude, what the fuck are you on?" I said, "Don't worry about it." And when the strobes went off, I kind of freaked out a little bit. And he goes, "I'm sorry about the strobes, you kind of freaked out." I go, "There's no problem, man. It was all the effect. Thanks for the fog." He goes, "What fog?" I said, "From the fog machine." He goes, "I don't have a fucking fog machine. What are you on?" I said, "I'm not sharing." I thought I was Jim Morrison for an evening. All right, next. Last month we heard a story about her fucking the shit out of someone. Literally. I can't wait to hear what we have from a family. Welcome to the stage.
You were just looking to use that story, weren't you?
It just fitted.
I know, kind of like me, but hey, you know. So, barring any actual talent, I think I'm just going to get up here and talk dirty for a few minutes. How's that sound? All right! How many people have seen this viral video, shit people from Omaha do or say? Will, I noticed you referenced it. Gonna go outside in a winter jacket and my shorts. Doc Sanguinary mentioned it earlier when he said that anything you do is gonna end up in a garage sale. I'm gonna take that a step farther and tell you about my latest antiquing experience. You can't take me anywhere, folks. I'm telling you. How many of you have been to Shabby Chic Picker Chick on 50th and Dodgish? You been there recently? Well, I don't have a way to bring in any visual aids because, number one, unfortunately, I didn't buy any of these items because my wallet wasn't deep enough. But I do have photos of a lot of these things that I'm talking about. I do have cards up here if you want to check out the photos. They've got my blog on there. Look it up. Basically, a couple of weeks ago, a month or so ago, I moved into a new apartment. I love this place. And I decided when I sold my house, I was going to get rid of all the shit I didn't want, the detritus that has just kind of followed me from place to place. And if I didn't love it, I wasn't taking it with me. So I left my house. I was looking for a desk and something to put my television on. I came home with photos that I'm going to tell you about in a minute here, a new drag queen friend, and a lamp. None of which was on my list. So I went into the Shabby Chic Picker Chick, which is where I found this lamp, which then turns my living room truly into a red light district, because it is something out of a Christmas Story sequel. I mean, it should be showcased next to the leg. Fragile, yes, it's French. However, I'm with this friend of mine. And this friend of mine recently purchased a house that has a very phallic banister in it. And I'm not allowed anywhere near it without a chaperone. Ever. And I hear her giggling off into the distance while I'm staring at this lamp. Going, it's beautiful. I must have it. And this giggling catches my attention. And I come over and I says, what are you giggling at? And she points. And then I'm giggling too, because it is this Victorian era vibrator. I'm talking female hysteria, pamphlets on how to ride the train the right way, unbalanced washing machine vibrator.
3.25 horsepower.
I didn't want to get that close because I knew I must have it, because you see, I have this goal that eventually when my parents kick off, I want to take all of my Peggy Carr decorative plates out of my curio and just stock it with glass dildos and other conversation pieces. Yes, exactly. Yeah, yes it is. And there's a reason why every time when I actually lived out in Northwest Omaha, God, I hated it. Like you said, scared for your life. It's just to Edward Scissorhands, and I couldn't deal. There's a reason why every time there would be a brownout, my phone would blow up, going, what? Really? Again? That's the third time this week. I'm buying a generator, leave me alone. So yes, there is this vintage vibrator with, and I was getting to this with the phallic banister before I got sidetracked. This friend of mine who purchased the house, she actually has the type of plug that you would require to use this thing. This thing doesn't go into a 2 or a 3-prong plug. This thing uses a light socket. You can't, if something goes wrong, you can't just kick it out of the wall. You are just gonna hold on for dear life. Yes. So, like I said, there's photos of this on the blog, should you want to take a look at it. But that's not it. That's not everything, because you can find anything in a thrift store in this town. I thought that was going to be it, was this vintage vibrator. No. Anybody been to Back in the Day?
Yes.
Great store.
Yes.
Anthony's a trip.
Yes.
But the last time I was in there, I found some very, very neat things. I found some old microphones that I thought would make some fantastic props for something such as this. I found a nice 1950s little tabletop unmentionables clothes washer. Basically, it's like one of those Ronco set it and forget it. Yeah, one of the blanking on the word, rotisseries, set it and forget it. You put the soap in and it's just got like a paint stirrer in it, and it apparently stirs your clothes clean. And I'm sure you could buy it on late night television in the 50s, but that was merely interesting. If you walked up to the glass case, they have a series of speculums for sale. Only in Japan. I don't really know what to make of that. And then the guy behind the counter is telling me, yeah, there was a guy in here yesterday. He had to have his girlfriend explain that it wasn't a double-ended shoehorn. Awkward. So behind this, no, I'm not going to go there yet. So I'm looking at this, and we go downstairs, and of course the lamps that I fell in love with the last time I was there were still there. I am going to have the best lit apartment in the city. I cannot go anywhere without finding something to light something up with. I don't get it. I don't have a fetish. I've never owned lamps that I couldn't part with before. What the hell?
You need more lights on.
Yeah. This one was on a pole, so I kind of understand. So downstairs, they have a shipment, and I don't even know where these came from. I don't need to know. All I needed to know was that I had to have one. It was a riding crop with a fatter end on the end of it, so it makes a better noise when you smack somebody on the ass with it. $10, it was mine. And a feathered hat, what can I say? And a pith helmet, actually. Yeah, pith helmet, riding hat, feathered. Yes, if you ever break into my house, you'll probably leave scared. You might need therapy. That's my burglar alarm.
I might not leave.
How you doing? So as I carry this riding crop upstairs with my pith helmet and feathered hat, I notice by the speculums, there's an exam table. Impromptu photo shoot! My poor friend Trish. She's the one with the light socket outlet in her house. She's got my camera going, I will never speak to you again. If you mention me in this in any way, I no longer have a friend Trish, apparently, thanks to, sorry, baby, I just, yeah. So yeah, we're upstairs. They find me this feathered mask. I've got the riding crop. I'm sitting up on this table posing. I was having a fat day. That's why they're not on Facebook. But it was. The poor guy behind the counter's like, oh my God. No, you go away. You're scaring the straights. So that just goes to prove you can find anything in a thrift store in this town. So whoever made that particular viral video, hats off! You were right! Next, it's spring, and you know what that means. We're all horny.
That was summer.
That's you just by season?
No, well, I call it the spring squirms, so, because, we don't need a trapper keeper, so. Yeah, well, that's, work with me, it's a theme here. So I decided I was going to write a blog post the other day called Stick It in a Plump One. This is why you want to fuck a fat chick. Plain and simple. I was talking with a friend of mine, used to be a roommate of mine. He worked as a bouncer for a strip club for 10 plus years thereabout. And he was saying, you know what? I have stuck my dick in a lot of crazy, but my sex life has not been near as interesting as yours. And it kind of occurred to me at that time, because we were talking about the lights off, oh my God, I need to find a pulse, are you actually alive, you need to move a little bit experience he's had. And I'm thinking, this is why you need to fuck a fat chick, man. I advocate it, I do, not because I am one, just because I think, you know what, we're a little better in bed. America is body obsessed. And you know what? Those of us that are a little round, a little chunky, we know what we look like naked. I know what I look like naked. It means we're not necessarily going to panic if you see that one little minuscule imperfection with the lights are on. I've seen it. I know what it looks like. You know, it's not that we're going to panic, or it's not going to matter if it's the middle of the day on a Tuesday or a Sunday afternoon. You know what? Let's do it. Let's see. You know, here's the thing. Imperfection or not, we know we're gonna fuck you. Throw our ankles over your shoulders, press back into that doggy thrust, grab a handful of skin, fuck you anyway, imperfection or no. Ladies with a little extra aren't likely to be stereotyped as sex obsessed. So we blend into the population a little better. You know, oh, they're kind of chubby. That means that they're probably kind of, they don't want to, Talking your lady into wearing either that sexy underwear or nothing at all under her clothes out in public might be just a little bit easier if you can convince her that nobody will suspect her. People think it's that hot blonde, when in reality it's the zoftig redhead with the vibrating panties and the boyfriend with the remote. Just saying. Ladies of size have something to grab onto. We're soft, Ryan. We're warm, Ryan. We jiggle when we walk. And our we jiggle when we walk, and our bodies are full of wonder. They have beautiful nooks and crannies that just need to be explored.
My body's full of wonder.
Oh, baby. No, it's full of fucking leprechauns is what it is, man. How's that shillelagh, baby? Got a Blarney Stone back there?
You're lucky.
I got some lucky charms. It's magically delicious.
No, honey, that's called pineapple. I love you guys. Where was I? Okay, yes, beautiful nooks and crannies. And having that extra flesh not only gives you that satisfactory sound of a slap on the ass, but the added bonus of that warm backside bending to your strike. Mm-hmm. True to the stereotype, we're hungry. We're hungry. A round girl doesn't order a salad at dinner because she doesn't have an adversarial relationship with food. She doesn't care if she's judged for liking it either. That appetite and lack of shame isn't limited to the dinner table. Convince a thick girl you think she's sexy, and eventually you'll find her inner ravenous palate of lust. Much like her asking, "You gonna eat that?" when you've got something left on your plate, she's likely to come back for seconds in the bedroom too. We indulge because we like it. Svelte women tend to count calories and keep tabs on what they owe under the sheets. The voluptuous women of the world indulge because they want to, and nothing tells them that they can't. You spend the night with a girl who has stretch marks because she feels good, because you love how her voice drops a register when she moans and tell you not to fucking stop. Because she knows that she's what's making your toes curl, not the fact that she might be your 10 on your bedroom bingo. Not being thin means there's no pressure to conform, to be like everybody else. That lets us have the freedom thin women do when it comes to shopping. They get the pick of the items on the sale racks. We get the pick of the partners who want something more than missionary with the lights out. Plus-size girls are bigger, and I mean that in every way. Our voices, our personalities, our appetites. I don't have the personality to be a stick, and I wouldn't have it any other way. What I got? Hold that talk dirty. Is this you telling me you want me to tell more dirty stories? I'm out, man. For the moment, I'm drawing a blank.
Jennifer Family. Since Will Ross couldn't be here tonight because he's in a battle with one of his internal organs, I mean, I kind of, well, he won because it's out of him and didn't kill him. I'm in a battle with one of my internal organs too, and god damn it, that fucking liver's gonna die one of these days. I wanted to read just a couple of his poems from the book, and one of them I've voiced for him before. It was on the podcast. The other one I've always wanted to, and he never asked me, so fuck him, I'm doing it. Here's the one that he never asked me to do. It's called I Killed a Boy.
Just watch it back.
That's kind of what it says.
All right.
Yesterday I killed a boy. My blood could not have run colder. I gave him a nice farewell. He played with his toys, drank spirits. He did other things as well. I let him do as he pleased, as I sadly loaded the rifle of adulthood. Then I took him behind the woodshed. I told him what a good boy he's been and how proud of him I was. Then I shot him down. It took the rest of the night to bury him, wiping the sweat from my brow periodically. His eyes watched me the whole time. Why, they seemed to ask. I didn't have the heart to answer. He already knew. Because it was time. I marked his grave with no headstone, save for an empty bottle of booze and an old address book filled with women that he'd hurt. A boy died. A man lives. I put on my hat and walked away. And this is the one that I actually did for him, and he said he wrote this for my voice, which, what the fuck? This is kind of a Johnny Cash sounding thing, and it's kind of an Old West theme. It's called The Highwayman and the Gallows. I stand upon the wooden gallows, noose around my neck, soon dead. I drove in deep, avoiding shallows, and now I see I've made my bed. Standing here, do I regret the evil that I've said and done? Only that which I beget, staying there below, my son. A highwayman, I wrought for him. I murdered, stole, and took with need. And though my soul is stained with sin, for him I did each evil deed. And as they ask for final words, I see his face, ashamed of me. And though this may seem quite absurd, it pleases me to see. For every life I took away, and every dime I stole, I did it knowing that one day he'd see my actions toll. For after my short drop to fate, and while through hell I wade, I know the life I did create will see the price I paid. He'll grow up strong with me to hate. My actions with he'll disagree. Near a gun will be his mate. My boy will live, but not like me. So drop the trap and take my life, for I am unafraid. I fed my boy and fed my wife. This is the bed I made. That's for Will, that can't be here. And now we come to our final performer. Unless Liz shows up. Usually I see him in a kilt, but he's wearing pants, which I'm glad to see.
I will get into why in a minute. Don't worry.
It might be good. I've heard many stories of his debauchery and adventures, and they're all very entertaining. So please welcome Mr. David Nesbitt.
Thanks a lot for the opening. It's really odd. I feel like I've kind of created a monster. We started doing these shows in December with a few of us, and it's been really interesting because I've been watching. Mikey's been doing it before, I've done it before, Will's done it before, Jess has been writing, but she hasn't really performed before. And the fun part so far for me has been watching as more and more people kind of join this odd little group that we've come to call the Samurai. And like watching my dear friend Allison walk on the stage, and to my absolute lack of shock, fucking kill it was amazing. I only knew of Ryan Lacey by way of Mikey, and I heard the guy's a brilliant writer, but he's never performed before. And
I said
Ryan.
he was fucked up.
Oh yeah, that's right. But for you, that's pretty much the same thing, isn't it? Just checking. And of course, Ryan walked up and he just completely crushed it. First time and this time. Marlena, on behalf of the rest of us, just let me say something. You're either going to wind up closing out the intermission or closing out the show. Literally, even I don't want to follow you. Brilliant job. I just kind of wanted to put out the congratulations and all that because today, I usually have really good sets. I'm not too sure I'm going to have a spectacular set. And I'm not even doing that as kind of some kind of bizarre comedy setup. I kind of have to explain how this last week has gone before I lead into the really important stuff. And the really important stuff focuses on things that we've kind of all been seeing for the last month. And I'll give you a little feed on that one. And that involves sitting around watching Republicans try to crawl into vaginas. Or talking about vaginas, or talking about, or lying more specifically about somebody testifying about birth control. So we will eventually get to that. But I'm beginning to think I'm going to have a Fox News moment. I'm going to suppose that there is some sort of conspiracy to keep me from having a good set or to discuss these sorts of things. Because about this time last week, I was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, visiting family, and that's when things went horribly wrong. I love my family, they were great people, we should have had a great time. I took a flight, and by the time I got done with the flight, I walked off, and the next thing I know, I've damaged a muscle in my foot, so I'm limping for the next 2 days. I probably would have limped for the entire trip until Wednesday, when I caught the flu. And out of 24 hours, I slept my way through 19 of it. I'm very grateful to know that we do actually have a number of members of the healthcare community. If you see me collapse up here, it is not for a comedic value. After the events of today, I did my temperature. It was running about 102. So I got home, took care of a few things. Then today I met my dear friend Aaron. We were talking about doing some photographs. For those of you who may or may not know, I do photography relatively well, somehow well, decently well. You can study that for yourself. I left the meeting with Aaron, was going up Dodge Street, got to the 90th Street, got to the Dodge Street and 90th intersection, and the next thing I know, I'm gliding to a halt, and then all of a sudden, every light on my board goes up, and I can't steer my car. It has just died. And not died in a little way, I mean really died. I'm clicking, it's trying to turn over, nothing's happening. And of course it's noon on 90th and Dodge. So I have seen more middle fingers today than I have seen in my entire life combined. So I called the cops to let them know, hey, here's what's going on. A cop actually pushed me up, out, and into the Walgreens parking lot, for which I am actually quite grateful. I was really surprised. The guy did a great job. He didn't even dent the plastic in my car. The guy's got a really good touch. Well, with the car, the other thing we'll discuss later. He was really built, though. We can talk. Oh yeah. Anyway, so we take it over to the mechanics, and the mechanic looks at it. And at first he's like, well, we think it's just a couple of sensors, you should be okay. And he comes back a half an hour later, and about those sensors, yeah, we were wrong. Yeah, your engine's frozen up. So that was like the last kind of straw before I came into the show today. I ended up having to call my wonderful show partner, Ann, and say, hi, I could really use a ride. Yeah, I know you're at the Gallup campus, between downtown and Carter Lake, and I'm on 156th and Maple, but I could really, really use a ride. And she did, because she's awesome. Thank you very much. And then, in the midst of all of this, Mikey had his performance where he was talking about mescaline, and I was sitting around trying to think of what my lead-in was going to be about how surreal this last month has been for anybody who watches the news. Because literally, for me, it's been like being a fucking deer in the headlights. Because I'm sitting around going, oh great, I can write some material about this. And initially it was like the transvaginal ultrasound bill. And I'm like, great, I can write material about this. And then the next thing I know, Rick Santorum is talking. I I'm like, I can write material about that. And then Andy Breitbart drops dead. Applaud!
It wasn't lightning. It wasn't.
Lightning, and we were hoping it would be, but you do what you do. If you're not familiar with Andrew Breitbart, the people at Planned Parenthood could tell you an awful lot about what he tried to do. And I had a very interesting moment when the Andrew Breitbart thing happened because I am in his kind of business. He does video and he tries to make news. I do video. I actually edit it in such a way that it makes sense. He edited video in such a way that it basically told the story that he wanted to have said. Oh, fuck it, he lied. And I had this moment where I just posted something where I said, you know, Andrew Breitbart apparently dropped dead of a heart attack today, and I'm just sitting around going, I want to see evidence that he had heart in the first place. And someone I know who will remain nameless messaged me and said, I have lost all respect for you. To which I said, you, Captain Nameless, just allow me to point something out. You're a troll. You love to put things out for people to react to, and you do it from the safety of the internet. And you put these things out to see if you can get reactions and to start some stuff, and that's kind of cool. But you see, you're still doing it from the safety of the internet. I, on the other hand, have the guts to get up on stage and do it in front of all of you. Now, I'm reasonably certain that a number of you hold a number of views I do, but there could be one wild Andy Breitbart fan who's going to lay me out when I walk out of here today. You never know. I am willing to walk up here and take the consequences of actions. Meanwhile, the guy who made this particular comment basically did not respond. And I said, by the way, we do actually have slots available if you would like to have your time. And if you're watching, it's still open. I will give you the space and time. You can get up here and make your own material. And I really, really want to see you do it because you need to grow as a fucking person. Just wanted to say. Because I will say mean, vicious things, and I will mean them. But that's because I really want to put it across to an audience and get the response. Because sometimes I will say mean, vicious stuff, and it should be said. And sometimes I will say mean, vicious stuff, and the audience will go. And then I'll sit there and go, well, okay, I misjudged that one, and I'm a dork. Hey, look, Rick Santorum's talking again. Okay, I love the Santorum. I have to say something, and I'm going to hate myself for doing this. Can I borrow you? Yes.
Again?
Yeah.
Make him buy you a drink.
At least it's in public this time.
Tell him he has pretty eyes.
I need you to say a word because I have a difficulty doing it, but I can't do it any time.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So the word is. Say respect. Okay, work with it. Respect.
Oh, okay, yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a strange thing that I have, and it's very difficult for me to express. And that is that
Fuck. Wait, let me try it again. One more. Fuck! What? One more.
I respect.
I can't do it. Here, you do it.
Respect. I have a weird respect for Rick Santorum. I don't respect his views. I don't really respect him very much as a person, but he has a rather unique thing in American politics that I have not seen in some time. A level of batshit crazy that I really haven't seen since, I don't know, Ross Perot. Because he literally does not give a fuck what you think about him. Or, in one really epic maneuver, he realized something while he was in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and that was he was not speaking to his audience. And that his audience is getting really, really small because currently he doesn't have a minority vote of any sort. He doesn't have the majority vote, women. Last time I checked, you're 51% of the fucking electorate. He does, on the other hand, have the batshit crazy white man vote. The problem is that he's competing. Yeah, he's competing for that against a guy by the name of Newt Gingrich. And while, you know, Santorum has this incredible ability to communicate himself. to an audience in such a way that he can get the batshit crazy white man vote. Gingrich is like the master of dick foo. He didn't like, did you see? It was the most epic performance in the history of American politics. When they opened up the debate, and there is Gingrich, who his second wife had just come out with the whole open marriage thing. And the first question was from the moderator, asking, is there any truth to this? And literally, like an Aikido master, he turns, pivots, and it slides right past him, bounces off the wall, and smacks the guy right in the face when he stops and says, I'm really insulted that you would bring up this sort of thing at this particular point in time. Okay, now, keep in mind I don't like him. And keep in mind that if I was the moderator at that particular point in time, that's when I sit there and I pull out my pistol of semantics and I go, get him. In this case, the moderator just folded and went, I'm so sorry. I tried to have a real question about your sense of ethics and values. I don't know what I was thinking. But I have this strange respect because Santorum in a strange sort is the one person who actually speaks what a bizarre consensus of a certain part of America speaks. And that should scare the shit out of all of us. Because they don't want you women to have control over your bodies. And they would really kind of like to take us back to the era of the 1950s. Actually, I think that Santorum is like the brightest mind of the 1300s. And that's the thing that we have to keep in mind about a leader. A leader is the person who's looking for the next thing. He wants to fight the next war. He's planned the next battle. He's thinking it out in his mind. He knows that we fought these battles before, and then therefore we should not do it again. Well, we've already had a whole big conversation about things like abortion. We've had conversations about things like birth control. We've had things about sexual freedom and gender equality and all of these things. And so with that in mind, Rick Santorum, in a strange sort of way, is fighting battles that have already been fought. And he would like to take us back to those battles. He's, in a strange sort of way, I'm going to make my great historical reference here, the Maginot Line of American politics. Yes, 5 people, God, I love it.
It's a strange and wonderful crowd.
Yep. I love it when sometimes I'll throw a line out there and the whole room is quiet and 3 people lose it. They are my people. Yes. At the promised land, I'm not sure, but there's a bar down there.
That's the promised land.
Yeah. And then Rush Limbaugh. Fuck. I'm still somewhat in awe of both his complete and utter ability to just sit there and deny that what he said was an insult. He said that his words were poorly chosen. Okay, if I am with my girlfriend and she says, hey, how does this dress make me look? And I say, I think it makes you look fat. That's poorly chosen, and I will know that when the shoe bounces off my fucking head. If I call you a slut and a prostitute outside of, say, some kind of sexual role-playing thing, I am fucking attacking you. And yet, somehow, he absolutely refuses to admit that he did anything wrong in that sense, that he insulted somebody, that he went after somebody who was not the sort of person that you should do this with. And that girl, by the way, is freaking amazing. If you haven't seen the interviews with her, check it out, because when she graduates law school, I want her on my team. Because we are taking over the world. And you're all invited.
March 23rd.
Damn right. Excuse me. 1 second. I usually don't have these kind of pauses, but flu, throat stuff, so please just bear with me, I'm sorry. So I have this very odd thing, though. There are people in this world who I don't like, who I genuinely despise. Pat Buchanan being one of them. Pat Buchanan is a far-right speech maker, pundit, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He's an advocate of evil, basically. He was a speechwriter for Nixon. That should tell you an awful lot about the man. And so Buchanan didn't get let into the Army when he was drafted because he has bad knees. I volunteered for the Army, and I have bad knees, and they said, get out. Rush Limbaugh, years and years ago, after the whole OxyContin thing, was coming back from the Dominican Republic on his plane. And he got busted for carrying Viagra, he was carrying Viagra that was not in his name. Coming back from the Dominican Republic, which, by the way, for those of you who are not familiar, the Dominican Republic is on a State Department watch list for underage sex tourism. And he didn't bring his wife with him. And Limbaugh, that's a fucking attack. Just saying.
I'm sure he's watching.
Hey, who knows? Things turn up on the inner tubes all the time. Somebody in Fox News is going to want to sit there and go, oh no, I have to have something to be offended about. Who's this guy? Dave Nesbitt. Next thing you know, I'm sitting around going, hey, hello, Jim. Did I say I was proud? No, I'm not. So Limbaugh got busted for that, but somehow he managed to talk his way out of it. I had a somewhat similar experience. It wasn't Viagra, it was pain pills coming back from Western Canada. And we're going to transfer from this point to the time where I'm going to be where I was attempting some kind of strange stand-up to telling a little bit of the story. I used to work for a company called Becton Dickinson up in Columbus, Nebraska. And I would go out and I would travel setting up equipment for them across the United States and Canada. I had gone out on a business trip setting up gear. We were in a city called Calgary, and we had our first 3 days, which were like 16 hours days where you're setting up all this stuff. And then the next few days, it's like, 8 hours, you get a nice mellow day, you can finally have some fun. And about the fourth day, one of the guys walks up and says, hey, I hear you're a hockey fan. I said, yeah, I'm totally a hockey fan. He said, do you play? I said, yeah, I haven't played in a while, but I've done it. He said, well, my buddy, he's the materials manager over at the Saddle Dome. And we're gonna do a pickup game over there. And if you don't know what the Saddle Dome is, it's basically a huge NHL venue in Calgary. This is the equivalent, if you're a baseball fan, of taking batting practice at a Major League ball field. Fuck yeah, I'm on my way, let's go, let's do this, this will be awesome. So I go and I get suited up and we're walking through the Calgary Flames, dressing room, and I'm seeing all of their stuff up there, which they didn't let us touch, which is cool. Because I would have totally molested Jerome Gitmo's jersey so much. And we get suited up, we're in like the B team uniforms, and we got to start playing, and everything's really cool. I check out for my first line, and I get back over there, and I'm like, oh my god, I forgot how much work this is. Okay, we come back over, we're going back to the next line. Okay, here's where things went horribly wrong. There's somebody coming along this way. I'm playing defenseman because I'm not good enough a skater to be a wing or a center. And the puck comes shooting past me. I go diving to kind of move it back and basically slide my feet up from underneath me. And my head bounces off the wooden wall. What I didn't know is that when my feet slid out from underneath me, I had leg swept the guy behind me, which made him fall. And then his stick basically came down on the back of my head as my head was coming back up off of that. So basically it was like that coconut sound. And from the way they described the impact, I feel like I should be pretty lucky to be able to feel my extremities.
You should.
Yeah. And I knew I was in trouble the second it happened. I should point out, I have a very odd medical history. I've had numerous concussions.
You're on what, 7 now?
7 concussions. This was 6. This was also one of the most severe. I hit the ground, and the next thing I know, I can't really see. My eyes are not focusing. I can't really remember how it is I got there. This is just not good. Cut to the big scene where you're kind of panning in, panning out of the nightmare of you traveling through this whole circumstance to the hospital. Your eyes close, and then it's 10 minutes later, and there are people standing over you with instruments, and you're like, oh my god, who are these fucking people? So we get to the emergency room. I finally begin to get some kind of cohesive thing going on. I can at least recognize that I'm in a hospital. I'm not quite certain why I've gotten there. There's a doctor talking to me. I'm failing the concussion test, which for me, I've got that fucker memorized. Don't worry, got it. What's your name? Dave Nesbitt. Where do you live? I've got my address. I can pretty much remember what day it is, except that time, no. I think, he said, what day is it? And I think I said blue. And so then the doctor leaves, and I'm waiting for some of the people from my work to come pick me up and take me back to the hotel. And it begins to dawn on me that I'm getting really, really scared, and it's taking me a while to sort out why it is that I'm getting scared. And then it begins to dawn on me even more that I'm hearing voices. But that's the people wandering around, and I can kind of see them. But it dawns on me that they are not speaking any language that I recognize, that there is some sort of syllables happening, but there is no association being made with them in terms of them actually having some sort of content. And this goes on, and I'm getting more and more scared, and I am sitting in my chair, and I am white-knuckling this fucker by this point in time because I am absolutely terrified. And then that's when one of my coworkers, a gentleman by the name of Rich Dozier. Rich is about, 6'3", a very solid 310 pounds. He is the jolliest, happiest guy in the world. Hi, Dave, how are you doing? And then it begins to dawn on me why it is I can't understand anyone. It's not that I've lost the ability to speak language, it's just that I can't recognize that all of the native French speakers in Calgary work in the fucking emergency room. And so one of the things that's kind of paramount in treatment of somebody who has recently had a concussion is that you've got to keep them up for a while. You don't really want somebody who's just taken a big brain swelling injury to just take a nap, because they might not wake up for quite a while. And so that's when my coworkers got to have some fun, playing a nice relaxing game called Pinball Dave. Rich is on one side of me, he's a very big guy, and then my roommate, Andy Warnicki, who's every bit as big a guy, is sitting next to me. And any time that my head went, one of them would go, boom! Which probably didn't help my concussion at all. Yeah. I probably had 2 or 3 mini concussions when they did that. And they're having a grand old time, having a few beers, talking about stuff, and keeping me awake for the next 12 hours. And so my business trip is done. They've booked a flight for me to go back. Delta has given me a person to guide me through the airport, which is a good thing. Because there's a very good chance that if they hadn't, I would have just wandered away. I'd still be wandering the streets of Calgary now. Which, by the way, if Rick Santorum becomes president, I will do. Later, it's been nice knowing you. So they put me on the plane, and I just want to get to make No. Just talking about going to Canada.
Keep going.
Okay. And, no, there's more, whether you want it or not. So they put me on the plane. Here's a very, very big key for those of you who may suffer a concussion and get on board a plane. Air sickness bags, ask for a case. Because you've basically been knocked sideways, your ears are still trying to recover, your brain has no sense of balance, and like every 5 minutes, there has to be some proportional law that works along the line saying the amount that you have taken in has to register to the amount that could possibly come out.
Not necessarily.
No.
It's historical reference.
Yeah, pretty much. And so that was the first leg. We stopped in Minneapolis, where I had a person who had a rather unusual relationship with. Some of you have heard me talk about my rather strange, unusual, and dare I say unnatural relationship with Bill O'Reilly. He is the wind beneath my wings. He's the person who consistently gives me the anger that gets me up and moving to talk to all of you people. And that's my strange, sick, and unnatural relationship with Bill O'Reilly. I had a somewhat odd relationship with a customs agent in the Minneapolis airport. Western Canada has a rather lax attitude toward marijuana laws. It's pretty much legal in Vancouver, and in Calgary, the cops just stopped enforcing it. With that in mind, basically they would see my ass at that point in time in my jeans and my black t-shirt, and at that point in time, shoulder length, if thinning and falling back, hair, and go, hey, we see this guy, congratulations, get your ass out of line, we'll look at your bags. He'd done it the last 4 times, and now it was trip number 5, and he pulled me out again. I have no fucking clue where I am at this point. And the Delta guys tried to be helpful with this, And I'm sitting, he's like, can I see your passport? And I am so completely out of it.
Passport.
What?
Passport.
Oh, right. Okay, get my passport out, my stuff. And as I'm reaching, I pull out my passport. And they'd given me a bottle of some type of really, I can't remember now, it might have been Percocet. Some type of very intense painkiller to take after a certain period of time. Well, the painkillers came out of my pocket, hit the table, and then proceeded to quite literally roll into his lap. And that's when he just looked at me, and all I could think was, oh, I'm so fucked. And he's looking at me going, sir, do these pills belong to you? No, there's somebody stuck in my jacket. No. Yeah, they belong to me. I have a concussion. Please note, I will lift up my sunglasses, and you will note that this pupil is about, this big around, and the other one is about, I don't know, the size of one of those fucking windows. Yeah, you don't have much of a sense of humor, sir. Can I just take a look at these a little bit closer? Yeah, go ahead. I can't quite see whose name is on here. And I'm like, oh, Jesus God. If I have hung out with people who move multiple kilos of white powder through airports. I'm about to get popped for 10 Percocet. The irony gods are pissing themselves laughing right now. And so finally he manages to peel away the tape a little bit and he sees, okay, David Nesbitt, these are actually your pills. Here you go, sir. And I managed to get on my way. And I catch my next flight to Omaha and then take a long car ride back to Columbus, Nebraska. Go home and then proceed to fall asleep. Now, in the midst of my sleep, and here's a very important thing. Should any of you ever suffer a concussion? First of all, I really hope you don't. They are anything but pleasant. They're kind of like drugs without any of the fun parts. And so one of the things you should do, though, is be aware of the fact that your short-term memory has taken a long, slow boat somewhere else. So carry a notebook and take a lot of notes. You will be like the guy in Memento, but at least you'll have some idea of what the fuck you're doing. So the phone rings in my deluded state, and I pick it up, and I talk, and I know that I'm talking to my dad, but I can't remember a single word of what's happened. I know they've written, no, okay, great. So I go back to sleep. And I don't know, 8 hours later I wake up again. I'm like, okay, look, I've written myself a note. What does this note say? Oh, it says, please contact Dad regarding grandfather's death. Now, maybe it was the Percocet, maybe it was the concussion, maybe it was the being able to sleep for the first time in 72 hours. But I had that epiphany moment. And that epiphany moment for me was, years and years ago, I had made a decision to step away from one life. Like, for example, hanging around with people that move multiple kilos of powder. And then I decided to step into something that was a bit more of a normal life. And Columbus, Nebraska is a very, very normal life. I had a decent job, I was turning over some pretty decent wages, I had benefits and all these things, but Columbus, Nebraska was killing my soul. There is no way I could do this and get you wonderful people or an audience like you in Columbus, Nebraska. Thank you so much for not being those people. And it began to dawn on me that it was time to move on. And so I had that strange moment where I just went, this is it. That time when you realize, I found that I don't know what the next path I have to take is, but it's not that one. And yet somehow that path brought me here in front of you. And thank you all very, very much. Omaha, you guys are amazing.
Mr. Jacob Nesbitt. He's kind of the reason this shit goes on. It's evangelical promotions. David Ann, thank you for making this go on. We do have one more performer, and she just showed up, and it's her audition. So please be kind to her. Normally our auditions go on first, but she couldn't make it because she's trying to be bi. And her classes went too late. Bilingual, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. Her classes went on too late because, just like us, the asshole teacher rambled on and on and on. Please welcome Liz Tilly-Newson.
So has anyone else taken a foreign language class before? So you all understand that sometimes they forget to speak English? My German teacher is actually from Soviet Russia. And so she will go on and on and on and on. And it takes about 5 of us to yell at her, "What? What? What?" Before she goes, "Oh, you don't speak German." "Oh, you're supposed to take notes on that." And it's great because she'll sometimes teach us this word. And then I'll look it up when I get home, and it's like hooker.
That's important. That is important.
She comes up to my room.
Mikey and I are going to Berlin this summer.
I will definitely help you find hookers.
Thank you. We need prep before we go, though.
I can't help you on that. I'm only bi. So enough about that. I'm actually up here to rant and rave about my love life.
That was last month.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't invited.
Oh, no, I hope that's
I was too busy in my bi class. But yes, this is actually dedicated to a special someone in my life who makes my life a living hell. And for that, I am trying to prove I am not insane. Your love is killing me. This is the part where I'll put the dramatic realizations of the why, of how, along with what you're doing to me. Along the lines of how dare you, and how come you don't care. I'll bring it back with loud words, with capitalization, making my voice louder and booming, before bringing it back down softly. I'll strike a sentence of how you're losing me with each word you speak, especially when you speak of other women to me. Ones you'd rather be with instead of me. I'll speak of how you truly make me feel. I'll add in words of love and care and how they're no longer there. I'll end my paragraph with, your love is killing me. This is the second paragraph. This is the one that'll show my desperation and how I want to keep you. This is how I'll tell you you make me feel inadequate against your ego. Your superiority complex drags me down beneath you, pulling at my soul, my essence, my hopes, my dreams, destroying the very essence of me. How you tempt me with your lies and with your wicked tongue, telling me everything and anything I want to hear. And I'll end that paragraph with, you're losing me. It's because you are. You are losing me, that is. How long do you expect to go under the belief that you're the only man in my life? You're not. So we're compatible. Doesn't mean we have to spend every day together, night after night. You're not the only man I can trust. You're not the only man who can treat me right. You're not my type. I used to think there was something special about you, and that there is. I used to think I couldn't live without you. I will admit that in a way I still feel this way. It's like you left a mark on my heart, a hole I can't fill. You claw at my skin and make me feel special. You used to make me feel special. And now you don't. You used to make me feel one of a kind. You used to show me that I was the only girl in your life. Now I don't even know what I am anymore. I can't possibly describe the hurt. I can't possibly describe the pain that flows through me every day that I see you and every day that we even speak. I wanted to spend my life with you. I wanted to be with you. And knowing that you don't care, it's killing me. When we're not together, do you think of me? Do you think about we used to spend hours together on the couch watching nothing but TV? No words spoken between us, but we knew that there should have been some. Do you think of me of all the times we shared together and just miss me? Do you? Because I don't think you do. At least I no longer see that you do. I love you. Stop killing me. And god damn it, Missy, if you don't stop puking on my carpet, you stupid cat, I will kick you to the curb. Thank you very much for having me.
Damn. I've never dated her, but I thought she was talking to me. Give it up for Liz. That was her audition. And I'd like to thank everybody for coming out to see the Samurai spoken word. If you look for charity, and this month's charity is Planned Parenthood. There's a red cup on the table over there. Please, if you feel the need, please donate to our charity. Our next show is actually this Friday, right here, and I'll be performing. My friend Ryan will be emceeing. I believe Dave will be performing as well. Allison's performing. And you'll see some new folks as well. And then, you're a friendly, you're doing tech shit, so I told you you had to perform. Yeah. So, a family will be performing. Please come back out and see us. And next month we'll be at the Slowdown. Is that the 30th of April?
Yes. There's going to be 2 shows. We're going to be having one April 23rd here, and then another one April 30th at the Slowdown. Quite literally, I would love to see you at both shows, but if you can make the Slowdown show, that'd be awesome.
Because they'll invite us back. Yeah, that's a big venue. We'd like to see you all out there. Thanks for coming out. Please donate to Planned Parenthood, because if you donate to them, they'll prevent people like us from breeding. Thanks for coming out.